Ladies and gentlemen, good Sunday evening to each and every one of you wherever you are in this world. Once again, we are live from Brooklyn, New York. On this presentation of our Hour of Shenanigans podcast, I would like to acknowledge the legendary Malcolm X in remembering him, and followed by more outrageous news. As always, I'm your man, Yosef X, and I welcome you again to the Hour of Shenanigans podcast. I hope that you are having a fantastic and marvelous Sunday evening. We are multi-streaming on Facebook, Instagram, and YouTube. Ladies, good evening to you. Nadia, what's good? What's going on with you? Hope things are well with you as always. The lovely Marla, good evening to you too. I hope things are well with you. Sister Candace Israel, what's going on with you? Thanks for joining the Chronoscope yet again. So you all come on in and let us do what we always do, and that is let us reason together. Let's see. Good evening to you too, Sister Candace Israel. Thank you for joining us again. We will go ahead and get things started momentarily. Let me do this right quick. It is currently in Brooklyn 34 degrees, but the wind chill factor is around 33 degrees. And I'm hoping that all of you here in New York and other places in the United States will continue on staying warm. Before we get started with honoring Malcolm and we talk about shenanigans, I want to advise all of you that, or inform all of you rather, that this will be the very last podcast for a week. I'm taking a sabbatical away to rejuvenate my mind and my spirit. And of course, if the Most High ordains it to be so, we will be back on the air Monday night, March 1st at the 8 o'clock hour. New month, new episode, new topics. That is March 1st at 8 o'clock. We will come back. There's really nothing wrong, but I'm just tired, and you know, I've had a history of burning myself out. So instead of me burning myself out like I have done in the past, I've learned to pace myself, and I've learned to just simply relax. And whenever the time comes, and when I'm feeling much better and more energized, then I come back. But overall, my health is good. I'm feeling good. Nothing is wrong, but it's just good to get some rest. You see, even Jesus, even Yeshua, uh, had to rest. Even he had to take some time to rest. So nothing is wrong, and I want to thank each and every one of you again for all of your support throughout these 3+ years. Thank you for your donations. Thank you for your viewership, your support. Thank you for being such loyalists. It is greatly, greatly appreciated. It's a must, says Nadia, for the man to rest. Indeed, indeed, it is. Um, it's paramount. It's paramount that we all get our rest, especially with all of the madness that is ensuing. But enough about me. We're going to go ahead and get started. Today is Sunday, March 21st, 2021. And today, or rather tonight, marks the 56th year anniversary of the legendary and colorful, I say, and controversial American Muslim minister and civil rights and human rights activist Malcolm X, aka El Hajj Malik El Shabazz. Uh, that's what I thought I said. February 21st. Yeah, but today makes 56 years of since his assassination at the Audubon Ballroom here in New York. Unfortunately, Malcolm was only 39 years of age when he was taken from us. Here's a little bit about Malcolm X. He was born Malcolm Little on May 19th, 1925. And he was, as I've said, he was an American Muslim minister and human rights activist who was a popular figure during the era of the civil rights movement. And he is best known for his time spent as a vocal spokesman for the Nation of Islam. He was the son of a Baptist minister, and unfortunately, his father was killed at the hands of the Klan. And Malcolm spent most of his adolescence living in a series of foster homes with relatives. He spent most of his adolescence living in a series of foster homes or with relatives after his father's death and after his mother's hospitalization. And during that time, he engaged in several illicit activities. And eventually, it led him to being sentenced to 10 years in prison in 1946 for larceny and breaking and entering. Brother Eddie, what's good? Thanks for joining us here tonight. And while Malcolm was in prison, he joined the Nation of Islam. And he adapted the name Malcolm X to symbolize his unknown African ancestral surname. And he quickly became one of the organization's most influential leaders after he was paroled in 1952. Malcolm then served as the public face of the organization for 12 years, I believe, where he advocated for Black empowerment, Black supremacy, and the separation of Black and white Americans, and publicly criticized the mainstream civil rights movement for its emphasis on nonviolence and racial integration. That's just a little synopsis of Malcolm. Listen, uh, I will say this about Malcolm. I certainly have the utmost respect for Malcolm because he possessed something that not a lot of people possesses nowadays. Malcolm spoke with a mindset of being unapologetic for his words. He made no bones, he pulled no punches about what he said. And the reality of the matter is that you have to give this man credit for speaking what he believed is the truth. And I agree with a lot of what Malcolm said. But the problem we have is that you have people who knew good and well that a lot of what Malcolm said was the truth, but they are so politically incorrect. They do not want to step on the toes and offend people that are guilty of some of the atrocities that Malcolm himself spoke against. See? And I find it very, very disturbing that Malcolm is not mentioned. And whenever he is mentioned, people reduce Malcolm to a slogan. People have reduced Malcolm to the slogan of any means necessary. And I make no apologies for saying that I admire Malcolm X. I admire him. Believe it or not, he is one of my influences. He is. Because when it comes down to the ill treatment of melanated peoples in this country, he was spot on. When it comes down to the, in quotes, American politics, he was absolutely right. When he criticized the mainstream media, he was absolutely right. And you have also heard me criticize the mainstream media because, once again, they are perpetually guilty of a breach of journalistic integrity. You and I both know full well that everything that they report sometimes is a load of nonsense. See? And Malcolm, in a time when it was not popular to tell the truth, to get people to look at themselves, he had the heart, he had the courage, he had the intelligence, and people didn't like him for it. See? And he had enemies all around him. But nevertheless, Malcolm spoke the truth, whether you wanted to hear him or not, whether you agreed with him or not. Brother Clifford, what's going on, man? Thanks for joining us here tonight. So I want to take this time to acknowledge the memory of the Honorable Malcolm X. And for those who admire him as much as I do, I want to say in conclusion that the only way that we honor Malcolm's legacy is we don't try to be like Malcolm. There was only one Malcolm X. There was only one El Haj Malik El Shabazz. That was him. But we have to be ourselves, and we have to learn lessons from Malcolm's life, from Brother Malcolm's life. And there are plenty of principles and lessons that we all must learn and can learn from Brother Malcolm. But it's up to us to want to learn. So, Brother Malcolm, continue, sir, to rest in power. Continue resting, hopefully. Continue resting in peace and in power. All right. And stop reducing him to the slogan of any means necessary. All right. Current events. You all are not going to believe what I have stumbled upon when it comes down to our hour of shenanigans here tonight. I ran across this on my timeline. And the article that you can get it is on worldstar.com. It says that there is a 59, that's right, a 59-year-old grandma who is loving herself after leaving her pastor husband, who was shaming her. A 59-year-old grandmother is loving herself after leaving her pastor husband, who was shaming her. You know, it never ceases to amaze me about the negligent behavior of not just young women, but the older ones as well. Some good water. It says a 59-year-old grandmother is loving herself after after leaving her pastor husband, who was shaming her. Her husband was not shaming her, ladies and gentlemen. Let's make that clear. The problem with modern women in this society today, whether you're black, whether you're white, whether you're Latina, Asian, Indian, Mexican, whatever nationality you classify yourself to be, you don't want correction. You don't want to be told what to do. You don't want to be bothered with being corrected. You don't want to be a wife. You want to be promiscuous. You want to live the life of whoredoms. You want to engage in riotous living. You 59 years old. You're a grandmother. And you leave your minister husband, who was correcting you, advising you to stop acting unbecoming of a minister's wife. And see, the problem, once again, is that people don't want to be corrected. People can't stand correction. And to paraphrase the scriptures, it says that a fool hates instruction. I believe that's in the book of Proverbs. To paraphrase the book of Proverbs, a fool hates wisdom. A fool hates instruction. A fool despises reproof. And it also says in the scriptures, in one of the epistles of Paul, that the time would come when people would not want to adhere to sound doctrine, that they would become lovers of pleasure more than lovers of the Most High. Yeah. We are living in an era of political correctness. Everything ungodly and everything unholy is being worshiped and admired and respected. When you act like a fool, when you act as if you are a jackass, when you act like a jackass, when you act like a fool, when you act like a witch with a B, you're celebrated. And as long as somebody is living a life that is holy and disciplined and focused, that person or that people or those people, that person is being laughed at, mocked. See? But as soon as that person that is provoked knocks the literal hell out of that person, taunting them, then they're wrong. This is why I tell you we are living in an insane asylum without walls. Thank you, dear. I appreciate that, love. Thank you. Proverbs 15:32. He that refuseth instruction despiseth his own soul, but he that heareth reproof getteth understanding. And the 33rd verse says, the fear of the Most High is the instruction of wisdom, and before honor is humility. Thank you, dear. I appreciate that. And see, this is what men who are of good report, men who are worth their salt, men who are honorable and decent and who are about their business. This is why men are not getting married. And it is not that they don't believe in the institution of marriage. They just don't believe in the contemporary woman. So this 59-year-old grandmother, according to this article or this video, is loving herself after leaving her pastor husband who is shaming her. So when a man is correcting a woman, it's telling the woman the truth. It's shaming now. Instructing this woman on how to be a wife is shaming. Well, we continue to see the downfall, and the estranged relationship between a man and a woman. We continue to see the decadency. We continue to see it. We continue to be eyewitnesses of what is happening. If that ain't Swamp Donkey news, I don't know what else to tell you. I don't know. I don't really know exactly what else to tell you. I really don't know. But that ain't all I got for you on the night, because I heard that when it comes down to transgendered women entering the field of sports and athletics, in the women's division, they are unjustly and unfairly excelling. But this is what these idiots in the Democratic Party, this is what they want. And this is what some of you dodo birds that voted Democratic, this is what you idiots wanted. This is what y'all wanted. I tell you what, I say again, unapologetically, and you can get mad at me all you want, it still don't change the truth. It does not change the reality. And the reality of the matter is this: you can change or attempt to change the external biological makeup if you want to. You can go ahead and wear your weave and your makeup, and you can even chop off your penis if that makes you feel better. But at the end of the day, you were still born a man. And Daniel P. made up a very good point last night. He said before 1973, homosexuality was diagnosed as a mental illness. As a matter of fact, it was diagnosed back during the decade of the 1950s as a mental illness. They were diagnosed as being maladjusted. They were diagnosed as being mentally ill. Do you understand the whole shenanigans? I'm going to tell y'all again, like I said last night. Him downstairs. Well, he can stay downstairs for all I care, because I ain't going down there. I'm staying upstairs. Nardi says the Democratic Party should have put transgenders on the Bears NFL team. Good Lord. You think the Bears would have had a better chance of being Super Bowl champions, you think? I'm not trying to be petty this time. I'm just asking a question. See? Here's something else that's happening in this crazy and insane world. There was a black trans woman who recently faked her kidnapping and raised thousands of dollars on GoFundMe. Just recently issued an apology. Lord have mercy. A black trans woman. I'm telling you, do y'all see the narcissism that exists in our world right now? Do you all see the idea pathogens. Do you see the spiritual decadence that's happening here? We are all eyewitnesses to the world of swamp donkeys and ham beasts. A black trans woman faked her own or his or their own kidnapping, raised thousands of dollars on GoFundMe. I'm telling you. Because anytime you gonna have somebody that's a 40-year-old school teacher is gonna put some doggone gorilla glue and put it all over their hair, and then you gonna have some people that's gonna call some MMA fighter, in quotes, the bravest athlete in the world, and permanently injuring a real woman MMA fighter. You know we are living in the twilight zone. We are living in the bizarro world. Shoot. Ain't that something? And here's something else too. Peep this. I tell you, the madness just continues, don't it? I just ran across an article of a Columbia professor who admitted, peep this, they admitted that he does heroin regularly for work-life balance. And this article is from the New York Post. Y'all can y'all can get mad at me all you want to. But if you think I'm going to be falling for your crazy ass delusions, use a fool. Use a new fool. I'm not here to play games. None of y'all. Oh, Lord. Look, listen to this. According to the New York Post, it says a Columbia professor, and he quotes him, "I do heroin regularly for work-life balance." It says Carl Hart is a Columbia University professor of psychology and neuroscience. He chairs the psych department and has a fondness for heroin, not only as a subject of scholarly pursuit, but also as a substance for personal use. At 54, the married father of 3 has snorted small amounts of heroin for as many as 10 days in a row and enjoyed it mightily, even if, as he recalls in his new book, Drug Use for Grown-Ups, Chasing Liberty in the Land of Fear, he's experienced mild withdrawal symptoms 12 to 16 hours after the last dose. But as Hart sees it, the discomfort is a worthwhile trade-off. There aren't many things in life that I enjoy more than a few lines by the fireplace at the end of the day, he writes, pointing out the experience that leaves him refreshed and prepared to face another day. Hart, who studies the effects of psychoactive drugs on humans, finds his use of the narcotic to be rational as my alcohol use, like vacation, sex, and the arts. Heroin is one of the tools that I use to maintain my life-work balance. His reason for coming clean about doing opiates and the like is to advocate for decriminalizing possession of recreational drugs. The book makes the case that the demonization of drug use, not drugs themselves, has been a tremendous scourge on America, not least in reinforcing this country's enduring structural racism, according to the publisher. Hart could not be reached for comment. The swamp donkeys keep coming out the woodworks, don't it? Ain't that something? See, let me give you some real education about drugs. Drug abuse has always been a very serious problem in this country and the world. It always has been. It always has been. It always will be. The drugs is supposed to be used as natural medication to cure us of any and all physical maladies that plagues our bodies. It is not designed for us to use these things for recreational use. It's not. I can see people using marijuana for medical use. But when you start using heroin, that's one of the hardest drugs out here. Heroin, crack cocaine, and God knows whatever else. But because we don't have the knowledge or the understanding of what these drugs is really supposed to be about, this is the reason why we have a lot of people, a lot of men, and a lot of women that is hooked. See? That's the truth. I tell you, the reality of the matter is that people enjoy being self-destructive. There's no ifs, ands, or buts about it. People enjoy. People thrive. People thrive on it. People understand what they're doing. See, people, not everybody is dumb, I don't think. I think some people know exactly what they're doing, but they just enjoy. They just enjoy being self-destructive. I was talking to my lady early today, and I was telling her about this article from the New York Post about this professor using heroin. Of all drugs, heroin? Really? Heroin? Really? See? See, as long as people continue to do dumb and ignorant ish, guess what happens? The likes go up. the likes, the loves, all that and more. But as soon as it's time to use logic and understanding, crickets. But that's all right. That's quite all right. Because I understand at the end of the day, we all must give an account for our deeds. And I also told my lady this yesterday. We were talking. I said, every single one of us on the face of this earth, we are preaching our own eulogies right now. What the preacher does, he just gives an overview of our lives, but we are actually preaching our eulogies right now. See? And the reality is, whether you want to admit it or not, if you think things are bad now, they're going to get worse. Smaller says that's why it is crucial to stay prayed up. That's right. Don't look down. Look up. Don't look down. Look up. Says the Bible, because your redemption continues to draw nigh. In a nutshell, Miss Marla is right. She says you're telling your own life story while living. Exactly. See? But I'm telling y'all, man. And see, the fact is, people hate telling the truth. You can tell the truth about anything and about everybody else you want to. But as long as you don't tell the truth about other people, man, listen. I want to talk about Kevin Samuels, man. I do. I want to talk about Kevin Samuels before we get out of here. Now, listen. I don't harness any kind of animosity towards Mr. Samuels at all. I don't. I'm not jealous of him at all. Baron, what's going on, brother? Thanks for joining us. He says, or accepting the truth. Yeah. Yeah. See, the reason why a lot of women, in particularly a lot of black women, they don't like Kevin Samuels is because he tells them the truth about themselves. And it all goes back again to what I said a few seconds ago and what I've said before. People don't like the truth about themselves. You can tell the truth about anything and about anyone else. Just don't tell the truth about yourselves. See, the problem as to why people don't like Kevin Samuels, women in particularly don't care about Kevin Samuels. He is not going to placate to their delusions. He is not going to pander to these women. And see, the contemporary woman is really a grown-up little girl who's really a spoiled ass brat. And just like these toddlers, as Brother Oak Summers calls them, when you tell them the truth about themselves, then it's called hate speech. You can tell a man, listen, bro, in order for you to become the best version of yourself for yourself, this is what you have to do while you're living in this world. You are going to have to get a better job, a better paying job, or you are going to have to really intensify your efforts to becoming your own boss. Okay. Get your money right, save your money, start working out a lot more, change your wardrobe. It's all about growth. It's all about maturity. It's all about progression. When you tell a man this, that man is saying, you're right, man. You're absolutely right. I agree. I've got to get my money right. I got to get my mind right. I got to do better. And I want to do better. Then the next time you see that man about 5, 6, 7 months later, guess what happens? He's in shape. He has his money together. That's the truth. That man is becoming the ultimate version of himself for himself. See, men can take criticism better than a woman can. See? And that's the truth. And I'm talking about in contemporary society now. I ain't talking about in years past. I'm talking about contemporary society. See? Am I saying that every woman is like this? No. But I am saying that the majority, there's that word again, majority, the majority of contemporary women are not cut out to be wifey material. They suffer from what is called the princess complex. Write that down. They suffer from what is called the princess complex. Meaning that they think the whole world revolves around them, that they are above correction. And later on down the road, that's going to be my thesis, the princess complex. They feel that they are above reproach. They feel that they are above correction, that they can do and say anything they want to without consequence. But when reality smacks them in the face and they receive a reality check, then they just don't know how to handle it. They don't know how to handle it. And because of the princess complex, that is why they are chronically single. Listen, don't hate me. Don't get mad at me. It is the truth. It's the truth. See? That's why women don't like Kevin Samuels, because he is not about to put the pacifier in the mouths. That's really what it boils down to. And more men are putting their foot down. And see, this is what continues to happen. One, either a man is practicing abstinence, he's not even having sexual relations with any woman at all. He's a hermit, he's alone, or he's given up on the women of his nationality and he's starting to go outside of his nationality. But one thing is for certain, men ain't getting married. And see, the insane part about all of this, ladies and gentlemen, is that women, the toxic ones, the crazy ones, right? The ones who have been getting away with doing all of their dirt and saying all of their little slick-ish, guess what? They're scared to death because they know that men are not getting married. They don't want to marry them. They're scared to death of being alone, but they refuse to change their dysfunctional ways. They're scared of being alone. I'm gonna say this, and I'm gonna get ready to wrap it up. And this really wasn't our hour. It was an hour of shenanigans, but this was more or less a teaching moment to serve as a reminder for some and to advise others. And see, Facebook, I'm gonna get on Facebook's ass again. Let me tell you something, Facebook and Instagram too, because both of y'all are full of shit. The problem with you is that you shadow ban certain people. You shadow ban people for telling the truth about what's really going on. And when you shadow ban people for telling the truth, you unjustly disable their accounts, they're banned, and all this kind of stuff. Now, out of 595 Facebook friends that I have, almost 600, you mean to tell me that I've only had 3 or 4 viewers tonight? And see, that ain't got nothing to do with the weather, because the weather was nice all day. The sun was shining all day. But because I tell you the truth, you can't handle the truth, because I am non-politically correct. And that's just fine. That's really just fine with me. Because I tell you something, I'm of the mindset I would much rather continue to tell the truth and eventually become a martyr if need be, than to continue to live as a slave like that dumbass Herschel Walker. This dumbass is actually against, and he opposes that black Americans should not get reparations. He's a Sambo through and through. And his weak statement, his weak argument, well, slavery ended over 130 years ago. So because of that, that's why black folk shouldn't get reparations. See, let me tell you something about Herschel Walker. I don't give a damn how great a football player he is. He's a sellout. And I have no respect for him at all. I have no respect for him whatsoever at all. And the reason why I have absolutely no regard and no respect for him is because he's a Sambo. I'll tell you firsthand. The reality is we should get reparations. Are you kidding me? I'm all for it. But I'm realistic, and I also realize there's a strong possibility we will never get it. I'm all for reparations. Every black man, woman, and child should get reparations. And then some. We should. But because of the staunch racism that exists, we ain't gonna get it. And it's also because of Sambos like this jackass. See? You are hearing it from Yosef X. And you can quote me on it. I'm for reparations. We deserve reparations. But unfortunately, we aren't going to get it. And this is the reason why, once again, I encourage all of you to become sovereign. Because your leaders in the United States House of Representatives, the United States Senate, and all the rest of these governments across the world have proven one thing. They can't do ish. They can't do nothing. See that? You know something? She told me. She told me. She told me. She didn't have this problem before, but now all of a sudden, you all have got to tag her in. She told me about it. She told me about it. And see, Facebook knows good and hell well what they doing. Now, he's not an Uncle Tom, sister. Sambo. He's a Sambo. Because if memory serves me correctly, Uncle Tom was the hero. Sambo was the sellout. That's what that was. He was a sellout. On the Instagram side of things, I want to thank y'all for listening. And catch me when you get a chance. You all have a good one. I will see you on the flip side. I'll see y'all in a few days. Good night. Peace. I'm out. Now, let me read a little bit of this article. It says former NFL player Herschel Walker last Wednesday said that black Americans should not receive reparations for slavery during a, a congressional hearing on the issue. The virtual hearing was being held for House Resolution 40, sponsored by Democratic Representative Sheila Jackson Lee of Texas, which would create a commission to study reparation proposals. Let me finish reading the rest of this article. It says Walker, a standout athlete in the University of Georgia who won the Heisman Trophy in 1982, before launching a long-time professional football career, said that reparations could force black Americans to use genetics companies to determine payouts based on their ancestry, and while also claiming that some black Americans had involvement in the slave trade. He says, we use black power to create white guilt, he argued. My approach is biblical. How can I ask my Heavenly Father to forgive me if I can't forgive my brother? America is the greatest country in the world for me, a melting pot of a lot of great races, a lot of great minds that have come together with different ideas to make Americans the greatest country on earth. Let me take a sip of water right quick, and I'm almost finished when I say this. I almost regurgitated reading that nonsense that he was saying. And I'll tell you why it's nonsense in a moment. He said, he added, many have died trying to get into America. No one is dying trying to get out. All right, that's enough. I can't stomach reading all this crap anymore. The reality is, I get so sick and tired of Negroes like him who wants to use this term forgiveness. Let me tell you something. Forgiveness does not mean you should continue to allow people to disrespect you. Forgiveness is not supposed to be about allowing people to continue to dog walk you and stomp a mud hole in you and walk it dry. No, ma'am, and no, sir. That's the problem with Negroes right now. The problem with Negroes is that we are comfortable being disrespected, being beaten, and always trying to please people that don't give a damn about whether we live or die. And it's Sambos like him, in addition to our own contributions, as to why we are not further ahead than we are. It's Sambos like him. And we contribute to our continuing captivity. Stop using the Bible as a means as to why you should allow people to disrespect you and insult you. When in the world are you Negro peons gonna get off of your ass and defend yourselves? That's the problem with Negroes right now. Negroes are more comfortable being slaves. They're comfortable being slaves. They are comfortable being disrespected and insulted and spat on. Not me. That's the damn problem right now. If you tell the truth, it's called hate speech. If you tell somebody about themselves, it's hate speech. If you tell women and you correct women, then it's called dehumanizing them or degrading them. How in the hell can somebody degrade somebody when they are already degrading their damn selves? I close. I close with this. When I say this, I close. You all have heard me say this once, and let me highlight some of your observations. I'm not ignoring y'all, but let me highlight some of your observations. Let me say this. I need to even open up the phone lines tonight, you know, but I'll open it next time. The reality is, people feel much more comfortable being slaves. People love being insulted. People love being disrespected. And they don't like it when you rock the boat and you speak up for yourself. People hate that. People will much rather be weak and wimpish and two-faced. And see, that's why when you run into a man like me that's not afraid to tell the truth, I don't mind telling the truth. I don't mind telling the truth. I don't mind telling the truth. Why shouldn't I tell the truth? Why shouldn't I tell the truth? Because everything that's going on in this world, it has given me reason as to why I should tell the truth and why I must tell the truth. See, everybody, if everybody wants to be comfortable and see the majority, let me not say, I apologize for saying everybody. If the majority of people feels comfortable, guess what? That's on them. If they want to tell the, if they want to be cowards, you let them go. See, a lot of people, they want to be entertainers. I mean, I enjoy entertaining y'all too. I enjoy making y'all laugh and everything. But when it comes down to human rights and civil rights, I'm as serious as a heart attack about it. Somebody's got to tell the truth, because the reality of the matter is this: people hate truth tellers and truth seekers. Because the very same thing that I'm telling you behind this microphone and in front of the camera, whenever you hear me, guess what? I'll say it to your face. And see, that's the problem with a lot of people. People really don't know how to decipher reality from fantasy. I'll tell you the truth. And it's up to you to take it or let it alone. It's up to you. And like I said, y'all, I'm not ignoring your observations. but I am highlighting them. See? And see, this is why Malcolm X is still hated to this day. Shoot, even Yeshua, aka Jesus, even he was hated. Man, it takes a tremendous amount of courage and strength to go up against the grain. It is. See? Ladies and gentlemen, whether you believe it or not, we are in the middle of a war right now. We are in the middle of a spiritual warfare. We are in the middle of a spiritual warfare. Your soul and my soul is on the line. That's the prize. See? Your soul and my soul are the only things that we have in our possession. We came into this world with nothing, and we doggone sure gonna leave. But where you go and where you decide, that's up to you. And see, all Herschel Walker is doing is letting us know what kind of a Sambo he is. I also plan to do a thesis on the Negropean mindset. See, you're right. It did start from birth. It has to do with genetics. You're right. And the reality is, and I'll say it again, the Most High continues to let us know who's who and who's not. Now you can take heed to the warning of the Most High, or you can reject it. But me, I ain't rejecting the truth. And I'll say again too, the truth is, every word that I speak, I stand by it, and I will continue to stand by it. I'm not afraid to tell the truth. I will continue to fight on. I'm going to tell you something. I ain't Malcolm X. I'm not El Haj Malik El Shabazz. I'm Yosef Isaiah Benjamin, aka Yosef X. That's me. And I'll give you everything that I've got. That's for sure. And the reality of the matter is simply this. The Most High is going to continue to let us know who's who and who's not. But you have to be willing to accept the truth. See? Now, all hearts and minds satisfied? And remember something. The darkness that is around us as men and women, we got a lot of work to do. Get your houses in order while there is still time. And with that said, I rest my case. Just remember those scriptures. 2 Chronicles 7:14. If my people which are called by my name shall humble themselves, I will hear from heaven and I will heal their land. When it comes down to the knowledge of self, the knowledge of self is Psalms 82:6. Ye are gods. Ye are children of the Most High God. And finally, when it comes down to epigenetics or eugenics in the Bible, Second Corinthians 6:17. Come ye out from amongst them and be ye separate. It's up to you though. Take it or let it alone. But with that said, I rest my case. Ladies and gentlemen, that'll do it. I want to thank each and every one of y'all for listening. Thank you for your comments. Thank you for your observations. Like the video, share the video, tag your family and your friends. And donate to the cause. My Cash App ID is $hidden1truth. That's $hidden1truth. Until we meet again, most high willing, will be March 1st, hopefully. If not, we'll meet again soon, most high willing. But roughly March 1st. I'm your man, Yosef X. That will do it. Thanks for listening. Thanks for chopping it up with me. I will catch you on the flip side. Y'all have a good one. Peace. I'm out.